This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. So the Browns are making big changes to the offense, big changes at quarterback, big changes at play caller for the first time in, I think, Kevin Stefanski's entire run here, other than the time that he had to miss a game because he got COVID. He won't be calling the plays for the Cleveland Browns. So I'm going to talk about 5 players who I think will benefit from a quarterback change this season, and the specific ways I think those players are going to benefit. First things first, I'm going to talk about the tackle play. I think the tackles are going to benefit from a new quarterback being in there, specifically that quarterback being Jameis Winston versus DTR or Deshaun Watson. The one trade-off when you have a quarterback who likes to roll out the pocket a lot that you're going to have naturally, no matter who that quarterback is or how good that quarterback is at doing that, is you're going to make your tackles' lives harder when you can't stay in the pocket as a quarterback. The thing about Jameis Winston is he is a pocket passer. Yeah, he could scoot a little bit. If you get in man coverage, he can run and, take like 5-10 yards when nobody's looking at him. Like, he can do some of that. He has a little bit of flex to his game when it comes to that. But a lot of Jameis's mobility, a lot of Jameis's athleticism is exercised within the pocket. That means Jameis is going to be very mindful of where his drops are because it's going to be super important to him. And Jameis is going to be very mindful of where his feet are, where his landmarks are in the pocket. Jameis is not going to really do the thing where he kind of rolls into a sack or rolls into a pass rush angle for an edge rusher. Jameis is going to be much more mindful of that. He's going to step up in the pocket far more often. Now, I talked about this when I did the breakdown of Jameis's last 3 years in New Orleans. One of the things you want to look at for this offensive line to be a coaching point from Andy Dickerson is for them to understand that under no circumstances, until they see Jameis Winston pass that line of scrimmage, should they release downfield to start blocking somebody, because you're going to get a ton of ineligible man downfield penalties if they have that tendency. And I'm afraid that might be a habit that this offensive line has built up inside of them because they have played with Deshaun Watson and then DTR, 2 guys who, if they do step up, they're likely to run, right? DTR, especially Deshaun Watson, similar to DTR when it comes to the amount of percentages that if they step up, they're going to run. So I hope that they kind of drill it into the offensive lineman's head is that, hey, if you don't get a visual confirmation of that Jameis Winston is downfield, you should just keep blocking in that pass set, because it ain't like Jameis going to break one off of 40 unless they give him 40 on the ground there, right? Like, you ain't going to get a giant Jameis Winston run play. Your offense is going to be started because Jameis is pulling on the read out. Like, that's not Jameis's game. He's a strict pocket passer, and if the tackles and interior offensive linemen are aware of that, it makes their life easier because they're not guessing where their quarterback is. Their quarterback's going to be in the predetermined area for the quarterback to be, which we call the pocket. So Jameis being in, it's going to be a huge benefit to whatever tackles play, especially somebody like Jed Wills, who we know struggles to improvise, right? When it gets past the normal amount of pass blocking time, Jed Wills really does struggle to find stuff to keep him busy, and that's putting it nicely. And the same thing can be said with Jack Conklin or DeJuan Jones. They're going to do a lot better if you don't put them in more stressful situations, and Jameis is just going to allow that offensive line to have a consistent landmark when it comes to the quarterback position. So that is the one thing I think is going to be better. The next player that I think is going to benefit is a name that I don't think a lot of people are thinking of. Jaylen Darden. Yeah, Jaylen Darden, I think, is going to be somebody who benefits from Jameis Winston. Look, we went through the tape on Jameis, and the route that he loves throwing the most is play action, deep post. And you know who runs the deep post and play action for the Cleveland Browns? Jaylen Darden. You know who's going to get that ball a lot? Jaylen Darden. I wouldn't be surprised if Jaylen Darden somehow got a touchdown in this game from Jameis Winston. He's gonna throw that deep post on the play action. Jameis does not hesitate to do it. We looked at his 2021 tape, 2022 tape, 2023 tape. Every single year, he's throwing the deep post on the play action. He loves throwing that deep post, and for good reason. He's pretty good at throwing it. So Jaylen Darden is going to benefit because those kind of chunk plays, like anything that you would have imagined would have went to Marquise Goodwin last year in the offense, that's going to be the same stuff that goes to Jaylen Darden, and Jaylen Darden is going to benefit from that. It's kind of a similar effect in what Joe Flacco had, where Joe Flacco started throwing them deep balls finally to Marquise Goodwin. Same thing is going to happen with Jameis, and since Jameis loved throwing them deep posts, he's so comfortable throwing those deep posts. I think he's going to connect on a couple of them for sure if he plays a long period of time. So I think Jaylen Darden is set to play very well for the rest of the year. And he's been pretty good as a punt returner. I think we got to give him some credit there. Jaylen Darden was somebody we kind of looked at crazy early in the year when the Browns kind of went away from as a punt returner, I think in favor of James Prochet. But he's worked his way back onto the roster, and I think he's going to have more moments than you would expect Jaylen Darden to have with Jameis Winston at quarterback. The third guy that I think is going to benefit from the quarterback change is Jerry Judy. And you almost saw this immediately. Jameis got in there and started firing the ball to Jerry Judy when nobody else in the offense had fired the ball to Jerry Judy. Jerry Judy's job in this offense isn't to get open quickly, isn't to get open downfield, his job is to get open in the intermediate part of the field, in those in-breaking routes in the middle of the field, right? And that's the bread and butter of what Jameis Winston likes to throw. If you look at his tape from New Orleans, he really took advantage, especially in 2021. You look at what Jameis was able to do, especially in that 2021 tape in New Orleans, he really hit guys like Marquez Callaway, Deontay Hardy, Traquan Smith, pretty frequently in those in-breaking routes in the middle of the field, most frequently Marquez Callaway. So that's what I think that Jameis is going to take advantage of. He's going to throw those in-breakers. He's going to throw it in the middle of the field. If you got Dagger, he's throwing the dig almost immediately, and it's going to be there. Look, Jameis going to give you a chance to win as a wide receiver, and I think these wide receivers are also going to be energized by that, because I remember hearing this quote from, I believe it was Andrew Hawkins, and I think it's a great insight in how wide receivers think about this thing and how much differently they think about it than like us as fans think about it. Because Andrew Hawkins used to talk about how he loved when Johnny was in the game. Because when Johnny Manziel got in the game, everybody got a chance to do something with the rock, right? And that's what Jameis Winston brings. Now, he's obviously a lot more prepared than Johnny Manziel was when he was in Cleveland. So it's not that situation. But what Jameis is going to do, if you're a wide receiver, especially you're a wide receiver like Jerry Jeudy, he's going to give you an opportunity to do your job. Right? He's going to give you an opportunity to shine. He's going to give you an opportunity to go up and get it. He's going to give you an opportunity to get those chunk plays that you think you should be getting. He's going to give you those targets. He's going to throw that ball downfield to you. The question is, are you going to be able to be the type of wide receiver that can capitalize on those situations? And Jerry Jeudy, I think he's going to be able to get those intermediate targets that he really wants. I think Jameis is going to be looking for those intermediate targets. The truth is, Deshaun Watson and DTR, they're both guys who prefer to throw checkdowns versus the intermediate part of the field, at least in 2024. Jameis Winston, the only quarterback on the roster that prefers to go intermediate or deep, and Jameis going to go intermediate or deep, and that's going to be exactly where Jerry Jeudy is. So you notice on this list, we got the deep guy, Jaylen Darden. We got the intermediate guy in Jerry Judy. And now we have another guy who's going to benefit from Jameis Winston being out there, and that's David Njoku. We kind of saw this already when Jameis Winston got in for that one drive. He threw a touchdown pass to David Njoku where he just threw that thing up to him. And I think this is going to be the first time in David Njoku's career, at least when I've been covering the Browns, where they finally going to do the thing I've been begging them to do with David Njoku since day one. Throw that thing up to David Njoku. That's what they're going to do, right? Because that's what Jameis does in the red zone. You go back, you look at any of the years of Jameis Winston's tape. When he gets in that red zone, he gives guys chances to win in the red zone. You're going to have a chance to win. That means the DB's also going to have a chance to win. And he might throw a red zone interception. It's going to piss you off. But he's going to give David Njoku chances to win in that red zone. You do not have to be wide open. You do not have to be on time. If Jameis sees you in a reasonable one-on-one in his mind, he's going to throw that because he's Jameis. And that's what Jameis does. And David Njoku, somebody who's going to benefit from this, right? David Njoku benefits from these gunslingers being in the offense quite often, right? It happened with Joe Flacco, where Joe Flacco would just fire that thing off to David Njoku. It's going to happen with Jameis Winston. Also, another thing that's going to happen with David Njoku, since he's usually the biggest target on the field, and he has a veteran quarterback out there who's going to be able to work back through his progressions, they're going to come find David Njoku more often, which is what happened with Joe Flacco, right? A lot of the stuff that was successful with David Njoku was not plays designed for David Njoku. It was just Joe Flacco working back to his third progression and then finding David Njoku. I think Jameis has that same ability to work through his progression. I know that Jameis has that same ability to work through his progressions and get the ball to David Njoku. The last player I think will benefit from this change is Nick Chubb, because the Browns are going to have more success playing out of play action with Jameis Winston than any other quarterback on their roster right now. And since that is the case, when play action is effective, it makes it so that teams can't be super gung-ho about trying to stop you, stacking the box, all of that. Another thing that Jameis Winston brings is that he throws the ball deep. He's going to go intermediate. Your linebackers are going to have to backpedal. Your safeties are going to have to backpedal to get to where Jameis wants to throw the football. This means the box is going to be less tight for Nick Chubb, and he's going to have more space in there. Right now, what the Browns have been doing is they've been throwing short, and then when they run the ball, they do the shock Pikachu face, and I know it's an old meme. I got to probably update it, but they do the shock face when they see the box being tight, when all they've done is throw 2-3 yard checkdowns. Well, Jameis is in there and he's throwing intermediate and he's throwing down the field and he's spreading this ball out vertically. Then that stretches the defense so that they're not so compressed on the line of scrimmage. It's really that simple. So I think those are the guys who are going to benefit the most from Jameis Winston being out there. Let me know who you think is going to benefit the most from Jameis being out there. But y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.